What's up? Okay, sorry. Hold on, let me put the chat so I can see it. What's up, Trixie, Tammy, Aileen, D-Nice, Tyranna? How's everybody's Monday doing? Or I should say Monday evening. Trixie's saying I'm okay. Aileen saying awesome, that's good to hear. Starting off the week great. Tammy saying good, that's good. Jules! You're not late, I just barely started, so you're good. Don't worry, Jules. Taran saying going good now for your stream, thank you. So how was everyone's Mother's Day? Yesterday. Hope all y'all celebrated your moms. Or if you're a mom yourself, you celebrated. Or a pet mom. Can't forget about that. Or a stepmom. Or a dad that steps in to be a mom. Kimberly! How's it going? Jules is saying, I sincerely hope you're going to do the North Carolina panel in August. I don't know. Aileen saying, wonderful. Saw it, D-Nice. I gotcha. Alright, guys. Well, I am going to start it off. I wanted to give a quick shout out. She's not in the chat, but if I do see her, I'll say it again. Heather, whatever. She sent me a Cash App earlier today, just out of nowhere. I was like, what is that? So I just want to give her a big shout out. If I see her in the chat later, I will also tell her something too, but wanted to start off the show with saying super thanks to Heather, whatever, for her Cash App donation. And then also too, for anyone, I know a lot of you watch on the replay, if you guys can please comment so I know who's watching on the replay. Just even if it's to say hi. Jules is saying if you do, I could get Paige to do the road trip to see you. Alright, guys, we're going to start off with Ghost in the News. It's not really news, but it's basically where I actually Google Ghost in the News and see what pops up. And it's not really like a news article. I thought it was kind of interesting, so thought I would share it with you guys. And this is it, which is weird because this is what popped up. Usually, I get the weirdest things when you Google Ghosts in the News. It comes out with TV programs or something weird or some or something that doesn't make any sense. But I thought this was actually kind of interesting. It is on ATI. It's called The Terrifying Legend of the Kujisaki Onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman of Japan. Written by Austin Harvey, edited by Kalina Fraga, and it was published today. Get this. Okay. So it starts off, Kujisaki Onna is said to be a vengeful spirit who covers her disfigured face and asks strangers, "Am I beautiful?" She then attacks them regardless of how they answer. That is crazy. So, I mean, is that like a warning for men not to give a woman a compliment or something now? That would be their reason. They'll be like, I heard about a Japanese urban legend. Japan has its fair share of monsters and ghost stories, but few are as frightening as the legend of Kuchisaki Ono, the slit-mouthed woman. According to this creepy urban legend, Kuchisaki Ono appears to people walking alone at night. Upon first glance, she seems to be a young, attractive woman covering the lower part of her face with a mask or a fan. She approaches her victim and asks a simple question, "Watashi kiri?" or "Am I beautiful?" If the victim says yes, the Kuchisaki Ono or Ona exposes her full face, revealing her grotesque, bleeding mouth slashed ear to ear. She will ask once again, "Am I beautiful?" If her victim then says no or screams, Kuchisaki Ono will attack and, whoa, that's crazy, her victim's mouth so that it's like hers. If her victim says yes, she may leave them alone or follow them home, and whoa, that's crazy. I'd be scared if I saw one, but then you have to answer her. You have no choice if you come across her. Matthew, what's up? D Nice is like, want to know how I got these scars? Yeah. I mean, if you come across her, note to self, stay away from women that have a fan covering her face. Or hair covering her face in that matter. But you kind of have to answer her. You have no choice. She has no mercy. Because even if you say yes, she still comes after you. This eerie urban legend is bound to send a shiver down your spine. So where exactly did it come from? And how can someone survive an encounter with the Kuchisaki Ono or Ona? Where did the Kuchisaki Ona legend originate? Like many urban legends, the origin of the Kuchisaki Ona can be difficult to trace. It's believed that the story first emerged during the Heian period, 794 CE to 1185 CE. As the Atlantic reports, the Kuchisaki Onna may have once been the wife of a samurai who mutilated her after she was unfaithful. Wink Shaveberry, what's up? Aileen is saying, say, "Oh no, who did this to you? Have empathy, just a thought." Maybe. I don't know, because she seems like she has no remorse. So I don't even know, I wouldn't even know if you would say, "Oh my gosh, what happened to you?" If that would even help. Maybe just talking to her, but then she's Japanese, so I don't think we can talk to her. She might not understand us. Julissa, how's it going? She may look at us like this, but you never know. Other versions of the story state that a jealous woman attacked her because of her beauty, that she was disfigured during a medical procedure, or that her mouth is full of razor-sharp teeth. In any case, the woman in question eventually became a vengeful ghost, or an arroyo. Her name breaks down to kuchi, meaning mouth. That doesn't sound right. Meaning mouth, and sake, meaning to tear or to split, and ona, meaning a woman. Thus, kuchi sake, ona. Try to say that over and over again. That is a difficult name to say over and over again. The spirits of the dead who were killed in particularly violent manners, abused, often do not rest well. An online database of Japanese folklore called yokai explained. The kuchisake ona is thought to be one such woman. As the kuchisake ona, this vengeful spirit soon sought to take her revenge. So what exactly happens when you cross her path? And more importantly, how can you survive meeting her? So it's going to give us pointers? Because I'd like to know, because if I come across a woman with a fan across her face, and asking, am I beautiful? I want to be able to survive this, because she seems like she's a very angry spirit. I know, Jules, that didn't sound right. Wink, shake, berry, Saint Saki's rice wine. I know, I've heard of it. The spirit's dangerous question. Watashi kere, or kire. Legend states that Kuchisake ona stalks her victims at night and will often approach lone travelers. Wearing a surgical face mask in modern retellings or holding a fan over her mouth, the spirit asks them a simple but dangerous question. Watashi kere, or am I beautiful? Is it kere or kaire? If her victim says no, then the vengeful spirit will immediately... I mean, come on, if she has a face mask on and all you see is her eyes, or a fan, how are you to say that she's not beautiful? You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure most of the people that, if you're asked that question, you're going to think it's a joke. So you're going to be like, yeah, you are beautiful. You know, so... That's hilarious. I've never had it, Jules. So it's kind of weird. Because I think, like I said, I think most people be like, why are you asking me this? And they'll be like, sure, why not? Yes. If her victim says no, then the vengeful spirit will immediately attack. And with a very, as it says here, sometimes described as a pair of scissors, sometimes a butcher. If they say yes, she'll lower her mask or fan, revealing her bloody, mutilated mouth. According to yokai, she'll then ask kore demo, which is roughly translates to, even now? Oh my god, she goes that far. She's crazy. If her victim screams or cries out no, then kuchisake ona will... So they look like... Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I think she doesn't want to be alone. Maybe. Alone in how she looks. Or maybe she thinks... She'd be like, fine then. If you don't think me beautiful, then I'll make you like me. If they say yes, she may let them go. But during the night, she'll return. And you know what will happen. Aileen's like, me speak no Japanese, sorry, ma'am. Jules is saying, but eyes are the windows to the soul. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you just see her, she's covering, I don't have a fan here, but she's covering her face with the fan or a mask. All you see is her eyes. So how could you not say she's not beautiful? You know what I mean? She could, D-Nice is saying she could have been roaming free due to the Bud Light virus. Jules is asking who's going to be the first one to start a super chat train. Brandon, what's up? But she's angry. So I don't know if I want to cross her path. I'd be like, oh, sorry, no speak, because she's Japanese. I don't know how else to communicate with her. So how can you survive this vengeful spirit, yes or no question? Fortunately, there are ways. Okay, well, I want to hear her just in case she comes in my path. You never know. But I don't. She says lone traveler, and I think it's men. I don't think she comes after female, so I think we're good. The Business Standard reports that you can tell the spirit that she's average looking, throw hard candy called Beko Ame at her, or mention hair pomade, which for some reason Kuchisaki Onna can't stand. So what do? You go, by the way, have you tried this hair pomade? And then like put it in her face. Hard candy. That's kind of like an offering of peace. So she doesn't want to know that she's beautiful. So if you say she's average, she's fine. So, all right, note to self. Don't tell her she's beautiful. Bernadette! Brandon saying I would offer tamales or tacos. D Nice is like, one look at you and I can't describe with those hungry eyes. Ha ha! Great track. Bernadette, I hope you're feeling better per Jules. I'm glad you made it. The Kuchisaki Onna legend today. Though an ancient legend, stories of the Kuchisaki Onna have endured for hundreds of years. Yokai reports that they spread during the Edo period, 1603 until 1867, though Kuchisaki Onna encounters were often blamed on a different shape-shifting spirit called Kitsune or Kitsune. And in the 20th century, this creepy legend enjoyed a new resurgence. As Nippon reports, stories of a mysterious slit-mouthed woman started to spread in 1978. By no coincidence, there was the same time This was the same time when many Japanese children started attending cram schools, which students in Japan attend to prepare for their difficult high school exams. See, I mean, right there, she just looks like a woman with contacts. But she doesn't look ugly. So, but I guess we have to tell her she's average. And then hand her some pomade. Or candies. But this is just a depiction of her, but still, she's not that bad looking. I wonder if there's a movie about this urban legend. That'd be so cool to watch. Laughing Stock, what is up? How's it going? I mean, I would watch this movie. Before it was, if there was a movie, I don't know, probably, maybe there is, I don't know. Before it was rare for rumors to cross over to another school district. Aikura Yoshiyuki, an associate professor at Kokugakuen University who researches oral literature, told Nippon. But cram schools brought children from different areas together, and they took the stories they heard about other schools to share them at their own. Don't mind the ads. As communication techniques grew more advanced, like the internet, the legend of the Kuchisaki Onna spread even further. As a result, some parts of this eerie legend took on new regional characteristics. Julius is saying we should research it. Definitely do a Google search to see if there's like a movie. Winkshafe Berry saying some of those legends were of the salamander. Bernadette's going coochie coochie like Charo would say. When you pass on a story orally, you're always going by memory. So even if there are small changes, the main details stay the same. Oh, it's like going by, you know how a rumor, like it starts with one person and by the time it ends up at the end to the last person, the story completely changes. So it's crazy like that. But like it says, like the main details stay the same. Kura explained. Online, you can copy and paste or transform it completely if you want. It happens instantly, and physical distance is not an issue. When urban legends travel to cities in other countries, they can change to fit better into the local culture. Which is like when it starts with one person, by the time it ends to the last person, it completely changes, but the main aspect of the story changes the same. So it does make sense. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like a rumor. Oh, Julissa found it. Carved the slit mouth woman from 2007. Oh, I'll have to check that one out. That sounds pretty cool. Thank you, Julissa. In some places, the vengeful spirit is said to wear a red face mask. In others, evil spirits can only travel in a straight line. So the Kuchisaki Onna is described as being unable to turn a corner or chase someone up the stairs. In others, she's even accompanied by a boyfriend who also has a slit mouth, and who also wears a mask. Pretty cool. Real or not, the legend of the Kuchisaki Onna has certainly proven to be a popular one in Japan and beyond. So next time you're approached by a beguiling stranger who wants to know if you think they're attractive, think very, very careful before you offer an answer. I like that one. What did you guys think of the urban legend of Kuchisaki Onna? And I have to check out that movie. Matthew saying just check Joseph's Malozzi's site. He did mention this one and has a drawing. Oh, cool. Cool. I'm definitely gonna catch Carved the Slith Mouth Woman when I get a chance. Julissa saying it's a cool legend. I want to watch the movie for sure now. Same here. That was a well-written article. Matthew saying, lion teller, you like guys. Well, they're saying basically you say she's average, give her a particular candy that they have in Japan, or talk about pomade. For some odd reason, she doesn't like pomade. So you just happen to have pomade in your bag and you're like, by the way, do you like this brand pomade? And she'll probably be like, and then walk away. Just imagine she walks up and she goes, am I beautiful? And you'd be like, okay. And then you think of me telling you about the urban legend. And you're like, wait a minute, I don't have any candy. Oh, yeah, she said to say she's average. So you tell her she's average. And then you'd be like, wait a minute, I knew why I carried pomade in my bag. Aileen saying they have some creepy looking pics as per Google. Wank Shave Berries, what movie? They do have a movie about the urban legend I was talking about, and it's called Carved, the Slit Mouth Woman, and it was released in 2007. And I will have to check it out. 'Cause I like that urban legend. Bernadette, thank you for the $10 super chat. Saying, love you, Lisa. Can't wait to meet you in Arizona and summon ghosts. So I can't wait for July to come. Hearts for Bernadette, everyone. She is awesome. Thank you, Bernadette. Hold on, let me see if I can find a picture. That I can show. Jules is like, woohoo, Bernadette started the super chat train. Choo choo. Who's next? Oh, you know what? Maybe I did see this because there's a picture that looks familiar. You know what? I might have seen this movie. I may have seen it because it looks familiar. So what do you guys think about that urban legend, and what would you do if you came across her? Jules is saying, everyone hit that like and share. She did. Thank you, Jules. Bernadette saying, let's show Grayson Report some love. Choo choo. Susan, thank you. Hold on, let me click to the right screen. Thank you for the super chat. Love your channel. Hearts for Susan. I'm trying to get that echo, sorry. Thank you, Susan. Aileen would stick with me, me speaking no Japanese. Who is going to be the next one to join the super chat train? Wank Shapeberry saying me and Bigfoot live in harmony. Cool. Yeah, but Aileen, what if she spoke to you in English? What would you tell her? I would go with the pomade. Not that I would carry pomade in my bag from now on, but I'd be like, don't you like the pomade in my hair? Sorry, I think that's funny that a ghost does not like pomade. Marcella! What is up? Aileen, thank you for the super sticker with the super fitness pair. Hearts for Aileen. She is continuing the super chat train. Jules is saying, and Aileen is keeping the super chat train going. Brandon's going, I carry Tres Flores pomade on me like a child. Well, hey, she doesn't like pomade. It didn't say what kind. Lorraine, how's it going? That's good to hear, Marcella, about Bella. Glad she is on the mend. Super sweet dog if you've ever seen Marcella's Instagram. Aileen is saying, well, always carry candy with you. That's easy. We could do that. Or just avoid a woman with a mask or a fan covering her face. I like the fan better than the mask. I don't know why, because the mask just seems too... I don't know, it doesn't seem mysterious because I guess what we went through, so mask just seems normal. So having the fan over her face seems more scary to me. Alright guys, for the next topic, I actually found some ghost stories on Reddit of actual people telling them, so I thought was kind of cool instead of me reading an article. These are actual people who posted about experiences that they have. I don't know if they're real, but hey, I read a few of them and they seem super cool. Tyranna, thank you for the super chat. Love all your ghost stories and cool hats. Hearts for Tyranna, and she has continued the super chat train. Choo choo. Spring Storm, how's it going? Jules. Wink Berry is asking, did I ever do a Ouija board and what did I think about it? I didn't actually do... I had one of those. You know how years ago Mattel or Hasbro, I don't remember, they had the actual like Ouija board as a board game type layout? And I actually have that in my closet. And I tried to use it once, but nothing happened. So it went back into the closet, never thought about it again, and it's still in my closet to this day. So I've always wanted to get like a cool wooden one. They don't scare me or anything. I know they have a bad reputation, but they don't scare me or anything. Nikki, how's it going? Jules is like, don't do it. I would just have the board. Like, I want a real, like, a wooden, nice board one. But it's been in my closet ever since. Never touched it. It's still there, probably buried among my things. Until I clean out my closet. Bernadette wants a Victorian Ouija board for her collection. That is super cool. Jules is like, they should scare me. They don't, though. I mean, one rule is don't leave the planchette on the board, which I didn't, even on the one in my closet. It is not on the board. So, hold on here so I could see. So I went and did a search on Reddit for ghost stories, and I saw this thread. What are your real life ghost stories you like to tell on a dark and stormy nights? And I saw that it had like 400 and something comments, so I was like, or 426, so I was like, oh, a lot of people wrote things. So the first story we have is from Reddit user Majora420. Nerd report in the house. Bernadette saying her hi to Larry and the skeleton and Gary the alien. They are dying to say hello to you. No, I'm just kidding. Well, one of them is. The other one is dying to... I don't know what an alien... Dying to investigate? I don't know. So this one's from Majora420. And it starts off as... And this thread's from a year ago. So probably a lot of the posters are from a year ago. Something invited itself into my friend's home. I've told this story on another Reddit, but this is the one haunting experience that really freaked me out. When I was younger, I had a next door neighbor named Lexi, and she was my best friend. Our parents would go on trips on motorcycles with each other, and we would camp out at one of our houses until they came back. It was normal for us. We never had any paranormal events prior to this specific night. We were sitting in the bedroom, talking and doing what we normally did. We saw a bright light through her window, followed with the sound of motorcycles pulling onto the gravel driveway. We instantly think, okay, our parents forgot something. But before we could even get up to leave the bedroom, we heard a knock and a soft woman's voice say, "Hello?" The front door opened. This was a familiar sound because the door scraped against the hardwood flooring. Did they lock their doors? We panicked, thinking there was an intruder at this point because this woman didn't sound like our family. We have very Texan voices. I like how she put it. We scouted the house, scared out of our minds just to find the front door wide open and nobody in the driveway. Nobody was in the house. We finally felt better. We walked back into her bedroom, but before she went to enter, she collapsed onto the floor and started sobbing. I didn't know what was happening. I was scared, and she told me something as tall as the door frame was standing in her parents' room. Ooh. After her parents returned, her family continued to have paranormal activity in their house. They moved out too. Whoa, that is crazy. Brandon's like, Gary, take me to your leader. Abduct, yeah. Lorraine, was it accurate about one time before she married, it told my mom how many kids she'd have? Was it accurate, Lorraine? Jules is like, Bernadette and I want Larry. Maybe I'll bring him to Arizona, guys, so you guys can meet him. Alright, the next one's from Reddit user Brancher. Let me read it. Alright, it says, several years ago on New Year's Eve, me and my wife and brother and a bunch of her friends rented a cabin. On New Year's Eve, a very tall person walked into the cabin and looked at me, then walked into a bedroom and vanished. I saw them. My brother saw them the next day. None of the girls could see him, though. Scared the crap out of us both. Well, short but sweet, I guess. I didn't like that story. But hey, he might not be a good start. He or she may not be. It sounds like a. No, he said my wife. He may not be a very good storyteller. The next one's from Gemini Loveka. I know it sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it's 100% what happened to me about 24 years ago. Whoa, Lorraine saying yes, it said 4, number 5. I'm 5. Oh, that is crazy. Oh, that's crazy, Lorraine. Alright, so when I was still relatively newly married, my then husband and I moved into a townhouse-style apartment. The 2 floors of our apartment were on the second and third floors of the building, and the management office and mailbox area was almost directly below us on the ground level. Important for later. ... The woman who managed the building was older, didn't care for the property well, and usually spent most days chain-smoking Camel non-filters in her office. And being a hateful old You get what they're saying. Imagine renting a place from Juno, the social worker from Beetlejuice, but less helpful. She really resented what we had the townhouse. Claiming we lied about my being pregnant when we moved in because she didn't want to rent that unit to people with kids. She also made a few disparaging remarks about my husband due to his... She was a real peach, truly. So after kiddo was born, I was a stay-at-home mom, just busy keeping the house clean and the baby occupied without a car or local mom friends. After lunch, the kiddo needed a bath. Anyone who feeds a 9-month-old baby food knows the mess that can happen. So I went upstairs and ran the tub. Soon, I had the baby sitting happily splashing in one of those suction cup bath seats. Lorraine saying my siblings are 1 to 2 years apart, then 2 over 4 years than me. Wow, that is crazy. Lorraine saying it said 4, no, 5. That is crazy. Chills. That's chillin'. Gave me the chills. Important to note, it's the middle of winter and we had no heat. An issue I've been fighting Juno, the landlord, about for a while, among other maintenance issues, like my arcing ceiling fan or their garbage disposal that was held on with duct tape and leaked. Don't use it. We basically had to keep a space heater or 2 in every room to keep the chill off. I had taken one of those space heaters in the bathroom to keep the bathroom warm enough for bath time and had it sitting out of reach and splashing distance on top of the bathroom counter. I wouldn't have had that in the bathroom. I wouldn't felt comfortable with it there. I was standing in the bathtub, getting ready to lift the baby out, when all of a sudden, the space heater started to rock back and forth, when it had not been rocking before. I had this horrible feeling of dread as I looked at the heater and just reacted because I knew I couldn't get both of us out of the tub in time. I reached down to grab the baby seat, ending up pulling it up off the tub and dropping the baby over the side of the tub to the bathroom floor, just as the heater got to the end of the cord. It thumped into the shower door, bounced off the edge of the tub, and landed on its side on the floor a couple inches away, where it shut off. Had auto shut off in case it got tipped over. Ooh, good. When I looked over to the corner of the bathroom, that part of the room seemed to just get darker, like it was filling up with shadows. There was no smoke, no change in lighting, no windows, so no sun going behind a cloud, etc. It was just darker. I also started to smell cigarette smoke. Camel non-filters, which I knew the smell of well from being in Juno's office all the time to get things fixed. The smell was so thick it made me cough and my chest ache. But I couldn't see any smoke haze, and I felt this overwhelming sensation of hatred and malice, like someone was standing there giving me a death glare. I grabbed the baby in a towel and ran downstairs. I was so freaked out, I couldn't bring myself to go back up there, so I used some diapers from the diaper bag and kept the baby wrapped in the towel and cuddled up to stay warm. I stayed down there the entire rest of the day until my husband got home. Every so often, I looked up the stairs at the bathroom, but I didn't want to take the baby up there, and I was afraid to leave him alone downstairs. When he asked me why the baby wasn't dressed, I told him about the heater and the smoke in the bathroom, and he went up to check, figuring it was yet another maintenance issue. There was no electrical issue, no damage to the outlet, no smoke, no cigarette smell. He put the heater back on the counter and turned it on, watched it for a few minutes, and it didn't rock, so it didn't rock itself off the counter earlier. He laughed it off, but later that day, we heard Juno's adult son downstairs near the mailboxes yelling his head off at people. And that's when we found out she had a massive heart attack in her office earlier that day, and he'd found her passed away in her chair with a Camel non-filter still in her hand. Ooh, I like that one. That one was a good one. What did you guys think of that one? I like that one. That was a good story. She wrote it very well. Jules is like, oh, Lord, that reminds me of Psycho in the shower scene. Bernadette's like, well, damn. Susan Reich saying scary. I like that story. That was actually very well written. Guys, Jules is reminding you to hit that like button and share this video if you haven't done so already. Okay, the next one. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody while I was reading, because I only have one screen, so I apologize, guys. Lorraine saying so specific, like Food Club canned tomatoes. Teresa, glad you could make it. And we also have a super chat train going on. So if anyone would like to continue the train. Susan's like spine chilling. Nikki saying leave your DNA on that like button. I like what she said there. Okay, the next one. I don't know if anything can top that last story, but we'll see here. This one's from Reddit user Company Pizza. I manage a venue that used to be a Roman Catholic church and was then abandoned and used as a flop house for many years. I am frequently in the building alone late at night by myself, closing up after shows and club nights. Several strange things have happened to me there. Okay, so they put numbers. Number 1. I was really busy setting up for an event, and I was walking along the mezzanine area toward a room that everyone had told me was haunted. And while I love ghost stories, I don't really believe in the supernatural on a fundamental level. The last thing on my mind at the time was spooky stuff. I was en route from one area to another on a mission to do some logistical tasks or another. I paused at the railing, and suddenly I felt the sensation of being grabbed hard around the ankle, as though from below, which made no sense as it was a 25-foot drop down to the main floor. I leaped backwards and started shaking my leg and looked everywhere but saw nothing. Number 2. I was talking a meeting. Chris, how's it going? Julissa's looking forward to this one I am reading now. Cool. I like how this person puts bullet points. Number 2. I was taking a meeting in broad daylight with a collaborator. We were sitting on a plush couch in the middle of the space, enjoying our conversation about a potential series of events we could do. Because it was a business meeting, I left one cushion of space between him and myself on the couch. Suddenly, mid-sentence, I felt the distinct sensation of someone walking up to us and then sitting directly between us. We both paused and just stared at the cushion, which was moving. There was an impression as though someone had sat down, and there was a palpable energy and tension in the air. It felt for all the world as though an invisible person was sitting right there. We sat frozen and silent for about 30 seconds, which is actually a long time. In the middle of a business meeting. That is. Staring at the cushion. Until I finally waved my arms through the space in exasperation and laughed. We were both confused and shaken and ended the meeting quickly. Whew. Number 3. I had to supervise a group who was rehearsing in the space. I was hungover and got in the morning, led in the group, and went upstairs into a secluded area to take a nap on the couch and wait out my shift. Mid-nap, I woke up suddenly and heard someone slowly descending the stairs from the bell tower. I froze and kept my eyes closed, thinking it was someone from the rehearsing group. And I just wanted them to go away. The footsteps drew closer. It might as well have put a said the footsteps grew closer and closer and closer. And I heard what sounded like a man muttering to himself under his breath as he leaned over me and grasped my hip hard. He squeezed it until it hurt. I let out a yell and opened my eyes, but there was nobody there. Probably just sleep paralysis, but very odd. I've never had a sleep paralysis in an incident before. Number 4. Multiple. Jules is saying, choo-choo, let's do it. Choo-choo, get that super train going. Choo-choo. Invisible Rose. That's why I'm pausing, guys, so I can check, so I'm not missing anything, because I'm on one screen. Number 4. Multiple instances of seeing figures in the mirror, hearing door slam, etc. People calling my name from distant corners when I'm there by myself. The custodian once told me she refuses to clean at night anymore since she heard someone quietly praying in the confessional at 3 a.m. Ooh, that's scary. Everyone likes to claim it's the ghosts of all these Irish Catholic priests and their parishioners, but in my opinion, the many years the church sat empty and desolate as a last resort shelter for drug addicts and prostitutes is the more likely window of time where people would have died desperate, lost, and in pain. Oh, I like how he ended it. Somebody, Light Energy Bun, left a comment. Let me get this straight. You're telling me that, check notes, an abandoned church might be haunted? Alien saying angry deceased priest. Susan saying the bullet points are so organized. I know. I actually like that. Actually added to the suspense because it was like number 1, number 2. All right, this one's from Reddit user iasmin975. Not very scary, but a little tragic. So here it goes. Before I was born, my entire family and extended family, uncles, aunts, cousins, etc., all went to the beach one day for a picnic in Pakistan. Now, I don't know the exact details, however, back in the day, the smugglers used to bring in electronics from various countries to resell them via boats, and they would park the boats at the beach. Now, from what I have always been told, and I don't know how, if someone does, please shed a light as I'm always curious, they used to dig holes or something similar during low tides, so when it was full, it would create sort of a vortex or some inward pressure that'll help keep the boat steady on the spot as they unloaded. However, once completed, they'd leaving that hole in the ground. So back to the picnic. As everyone arrives, 20 plus people, the kids get out of the cars and run straight to the ocean. And as they enter, they start getting stuck into that hole. One after another, screams ensues, and everyone is trying to save each other. And one after another, they keep going in. Eventually, 14 members of my family drowned and passed away there in a matter of minutes. It was an absolute catastrophe. Oh my gosh. I know how to say this word, but it's like eluding me right now. And extremely tragic. However, the haunting, paranormal part of it comes next. Everyone used to live in a massive house all together. Think 4 stories, huge ass old style house. So now imagine, all of a sudden, 14 people gone. It became extremely depressing and empty, that place. One of the floors was completely closed off as the entire family living there had passed on. After a few years, it became extremely common and frequent to hear kids playing on that floor, or you'd hear every other night footsteps of someone walking in, putting on slippers, and going up the stairs. You could stand there and hear it clear as daylight. I recall a very clear incident. I was sitting on the ground floor long lobby with doors on each side, with a mirror at the end and a swing in the middle next to the kitchen door. My mom was in the kitchen and I was sitting in the swing facing the mirror. As I see two kids peek out of one of the rooms and then run to the adjacent room, I asked my mom if we have guest overs and she said no. No one is over. I explained why I asked. She pulled me into the kitchen and explained that day that it's common to see the kids, however, not to engage them or go toward them, and to mind my own business. It became extremely common for us to spot these things as we lived there, but no harm was done. Once my tutor came home sitting in my room, and I'd always close the door to my room so there are no distractions. Once he came about and he was sitting facing the door, which I had left open as I was alone at home, he mentioned to me midway if I could close the door as my family was walking around and it was a bit distracting. I told him no one is home, which he didn't believe until I took him out and showed him around the whole floor. He absolutely freaked out and immediately left and stopped tutoring me unless I went to his place. I moved to Saudi Arabia after that and saw a lot of things growing up, but thankfully I am not scared of such things or experiences, so I don't get freaked out. But I'd imagine most people would get really freaked out. When you live in the desert, you see things that you can't explain. It's creepy sometimes. Thank you, Bernadette, for the $5 super chat. Here's to pineapple on pizza and pina coladas, but more to Grayson Report. Choo choo. Bernadette is continuing the super chat train. Hearts for Bernadette. She is super awesome. Jules is saying, yay, Bernadette is keeping the super chat train going. Choo choo, but screw pineapple pizza. Brandon's asking, I wonder if someone that becomes a ghost can decide what kind of spirit they would be? That's a good question. Wake Shape Bear, be careful with mirrors. I heard they can be doorways, if I'm not mistaken. Jules is saying, so creepy. Catastrophe. Thank you, Lorraine. Catastrophe. For some odd reason, I was getting tongue-tied. I'm still getting tongue-tied on that word. Lorraine is saying if you're still visiting confessional after you've died, you must be feeling really guilty. Heather, whatever! Thank you for your Cash App earlier. I totally appreciate it. Made my day. There you go. The next stories from Reddit user BlueJ Keiko. About a month after my dad had passed, I was weak into school and slept through my alarm. If I got up then, I'd have 10 minutes to get ready before having to leave. I would be late if I didn't get up right then. Suddenly, I wake up to a male shouting my name at the foot of my bed. No man stood there, nor was there any males in my house at the time. My mom said she never called me. So my dad woke me up that morning so I wouldn't be late for school. That is super cool. I like that one. That's sweet. Dad's still making sure he's making it to school. I'm not sure how to reverse it. Heather whatever. Heather whatever accidentally put Julissa on timeout, so, and I don't know how to get her back, so if you're listening, Julissa, that's what happened. And it was by accident, so she apologizes. It happens, Heather, whatever, because it happens to me too. Because I click on something, or I'll befriend somebody on Facebook when I'm scrolling, and I didn't even mean to, so it happens. Don't worry, Heather, whatever. The next story, I like that last one, so it's sweet. Father's still checking up, making sure he's still getting up and going to school on time. The next one's from Reddit user OKMiddle5047. Back then, I used to work as a janitor at a school. Once during a night shift, I was cleaning the bathroom and heard someone laughing. I was so scared, I ran away, got my stuff, left the school, quit the next day, and never worked as a janitor ever again. Wow. If you guys heard a laughing in the middle of the night when you're cleaning at a school, would you quit the next day? Because, mind you, it's a school, and kids can sneak in. Yes, it's the middle of the night, but they could still sneak in. Would you quit? Daisy! I'm trying to get the echo. I mean, I would not quit. If it was the only time I was cleaning on the night shift and I heard this laughing, and it was only one time, I wouldn't quit. I would think it was my imagination. Because, sometimes when you're in a place by yourself, your mind plays tricks on you. Like, sometimes when I'm home alone, like, I hear every sound in the house. So I can just imagine, like, cleaning a school in the middle of the night. And then I hear it laugh. I'd be like, that was my imagination, right? Christy! Daisy saying my dad worked as a school before passing away as a janitor, and he said creepy things happen, but he didn't quit. See? He didn't quit. I wouldn't have quit. He kept hearing noises. Susan saying that's creepy, would stay a bit longer. Brandon saying I worked in a building that was made in 1917 in downtown Houston, and my coworker and I saw a figure in the building around midnight. Julis is back from the accidental timeout. She's all good. Heather whatever saying I'd moon the ghost. Here's something to laugh at, Casper. Susan saying there are creaks and noises that aren't supernatural. Exactly. Trixie. Daisy's saying he kept hearing noises while he was cleaning at night, and then he felt a hand rub his back from bottom to top, then turned around and no one was there. That is creepy. Aileen saying just be friendly and send them into the light and move on. He thought, Daisy's continuing, he thought it was one of his coworkers, but they were in a different building. That is crazy. Scary. Bernadette saying try cleaning at night and a morgue. Loved it. It was creepy but fun. Susan says it could be a friendly ghost. It could have been a kid too that was sneaking into school. Brandon saying old buildings do make noises. Wink Shape Bear saying when I was a kid getting my appendix out in the hospital, there was this total black figure, but it was total love. I thought it was my mom and dad, but I found out later they'd gone home. Nurse ghost? Maybe it was someone watching over you, making sure you were okay. That's kind of cool. Daisy's saying that was just one of the incidents. He also plugged pranks on his computer workers and would scare them. Heather whatever's like, who sneaks into school? Wait, I did. Aileen saying kids do like to prank. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't have quit right the next day. They must have really been spooked. They're like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to work in here anymore. But, I mean, there could have been an explanation for the laugh. You know what I mean? Bernadette saying the morgue I cleaned, always weird noises, but no activity. That was a bummer. Ah. He would pull pranks. Daisy meant. That's okay. I should have known it was pull, Daisy. Alright, the next user is deleted. I guess they deleted their profile. I always scan through these because I wonder if I'm someone's scary story. When I was little, my grandparents lived near an old cemetery, old crumbling crypts, and the neighborhood kids played there. One night, we were playing a game they called Ghost in the graveyard, hide and seek tag. It stood at one end, everyone scattered. Then it would walk straight through looking for everyone. The goal was for it to walk by without seeing you, then being able to get back to the start unseen. I ran to one side and climbed up to the top of the crypt and hid behind a stone angel. Was up there for a little while trying to see where everyone was, and I heard someone talking. I peeked around the angel and saw two people, probably mid-late teens. Guy and a girl. The girl looked up, I assumed saw me. She dropped the flashlight she had and started screaming. God, she was so loud. She ran away, still screaming, and the guy chasing behind her. I was about 7, light-haired, just outside Baltimore. Oh, ha ha. I guess. Oh, that's funny. So he's wondering if somebody's going to tell a story about him thinking that he was a ghost. Oh, that's funny. That's pretty cool, though, that he put that. Alright, the next one is Kemosabi4, Reddit user. I've had a few supernatural experiences, but the one I usually go to is when I worked in a supermarket. I grew up in a farm town, and the only place to get groceries besides the grossly overpriced Shopko on the edge of town was the family-owned supermarket, Robertson's. The Robertson family was very active in the community, but also had a reputation for from miserly to straight-up evil, depending on who you asked. If you asked me and the rest of the bag boys, Robinson had a dark aura around it. Many features contributed, like the vaulted ceilings in the back rooms, the creaking floors in the upstairs offices, and the door hidden behind a pile of old shelves that seemed to lead under the loading dock. The worst was the patriarch of the Robinsons, Blaine. He was too old to handle the business decisions, but he was too stubborn to let his toning son take it out of his hands, so he spent his days shuffling around the floor, antagonizing the bag boys at every turn. He'd chastise us for clocking in more than 1 minute early. He'd chastise us for standing at the clock with a minute left in our shift. He chastised us for laziness the second we weren't actively moving items. I always joked that Blaine was a vampire. He just refuses to die. Why else is there never a call over the intercom for kids who lost their parents? One night, my suspicions were reinforced. Blaine had showed up about 9 to take care of some office work upstairs. With all of our closing duties done, my partner for the night and I lollygagged in the stockroom right at the foot of the office stairs. When 10 rolled around and it was time to close, I figured I'd let Blaine know we were locking up. I started up the stairs and suddenly noticed it was dark. I got to the top and looked around. Not a single light in the office was on. We had stood at the bottom of the stairs the whole time and Blaine hadn't passed us. Even when Blaine isn't looming like Nosferatu, strange things happened upstairs. The exposed water pipes leading upstairs twanged like someone hit them with a hammer. Footsteps on the creaky floor echoed through the whole back room. All of this happens when the offices are pitch black as we stand next to the stairs. One night, my partner and I got freaked out by the noises from the offices and decided to spend the remainder of the shift lapping the store. Lapping? But as we walked perpendicular to the aisles, a can of green beans halfway down the vegetable aisle suddenly fell off the shelf. We put it back in place and started walking again. 2 aisles down, another can fell off. This time, as I put it back in place, a can 15 feet down the aisle flew off the shelf. We left that one sitting and huddled around the cash registers for the rest of the shift. To top it off, though, a bag boy requests to be taken off night shifts after an experience he had in the break room. The break room has 2 small bathrooms, male and female. He was taking his dinner break when he heard a baby crying from the women's bathroom. He had been in there 5 minutes already and hadn't seen anyone come in, much less with a baby. He endured the crying for 5 more minutes before he got concerned and knocked on the door. Repeated knocks and questions got nothing back except for the nonstop bawling. He was finally convinced something had happened to the mother and cracked the door open. The room was dark and empty. Someone was like, "You should write stories. That was really enjoyable to read despite the subject matter." Shamanistic Unicorn, what's up? Heather, whatever, saying I had steam heat when I first moved to LA. Those sounds will freak you out, random knocks. Alright, the next one is Paranoid Little Kid. Whenever I'm at my grandma's place, I can't stand being downstairs. It sounds like people are walking upstairs, even if there's nobody else there. There has been plenty of times where I've taken a bath downstairs and heard loud thuds as if someone was walking, and when I go upstairs again, I always ask her, "What have you been roaming around for?" But she always says she hasn't been doing anything but watching TV or checking her Facebook. My grandma says it's her infamous cursed painting of a crying boy downstairs. It's meant to bring fire and destruction, but apparently whenever you use the bathroom, he stomps in anger. And then someone, Squareback Steve, says if it's... Hold on, I shouldn't have... Oh my god, what? There it goes. Oh, I lost his comment. Brandon saying, I honestly think I would smile if I knew a spirit was messing with me. Tyranna's like, random knocks, scary. Julissa saying this one was good too. Daisy saying, I heard of that painting on Ghost Adventures. I'm trying to think. It sounds familiar. I have too. I think it was on the Haunted Museum. Was it? Can't. Shamanistic is saying, gulp, those strange thuds upstairs, super creepy. It is, especially if you're taking a bath. You're taking a bath, you're trying to relax, and you're kind of stuck where you are. You can't really get out. I mean, I guess you could, but you gotta put a towel around you, but you hear these thuds. I hate when I'm in the shower and I hear, like, thuds. I always think someone's coming in the room or something. Heather whatever saying, I would tell it to knock it off. I tell my car to shut up when it does backup beeps. Alright, this is from Reddit user Kemosabi4. I don't know if it might be a reply to the last story, but I'm not sure because I clicked on it to expand it. This reminds me of a story my dad told me. He was over at his grandma's place as a child. The whole extended family was together to have breakfast. His aunt stopped by to do laundry because she was a college student at the time and it was cheaper than doing it in the dorms. Everyone was sitting in the living room while she ran down to start a load. The basement was unfinished and the washer and dryer were in a little alcove separated from the rest of the basement by a sheet. She came back up from the basement, looked at my dad, and said, "That was a pretty good trick you pulled, Doug. I didn't even hear you." Everyone looked around at each other. Eventually, my dad's mother piped up. "No one's left the room since you showed up." His aunt went completely white, and the family eventually calmed her down enough to get an explanation out of her. She said she started the washer, turned around, and pulled the sheet back. A pyramid of folding chairs had been stacked on the other side. Whoa. That's scary. That would scare me if I saw that. Daisy says, or something similar, the crying boy painting where every home or building it's been in, it ends up burning unexplainable and the painting is the only thing that survives. I have to revisit that episode. Bernadette's give me a maid ghost anytime. Teresa, that sounds good. Guys, there's still time to support the super chat train to continue it. Okay, the next story is from T. Eleusis cited, something like that. Is it from that or it disappeared? It disappeared. Well, anyways, we'll do unusual complex because I clicked on something and it disappeared. My grandma passed away 3 years ago. Her birthday was in January. In 2020, her number was still active. It was a prepaid number. If you paid X amount, your number would be active for a year. Just after midnight on her birthday, my mom sent her a text saying, "Happy birthday, Mom," just before 1 a.m. Or "Happy birthday, Mom." Just before 1 a.m., she received a text from that number saying thank you. We went over the next day just to find the phone exactly where she left it before she passed, and the battery was dead. Ooh, that is crazy. I like those little short stories. Hey, Louisa's miscellaneous videos. How's it going? Alright, this one's by Reddit user Charlie2135. Posted before my in-laws' house was haunted by a friendly spirit and a story about a coworker. Father-in-law woke up and saw his dog from his childhood sleeping at the foot of the bed. His bed was magical because if you had symptoms of a cold or something coming on and slept in that bed, you would wake up without any symptoms afterwards. When our son was maybe 10 months old, we were staying at their house and sleeping in the 2 bedrooms upstairs. One day, while my wife and I were downstairs watching television, we heard our son running through the hallways upstairs. As he couldn't get out of the crib at the time, we ran up to see what was going on. He was sound asleep. My coworker's story... Oh, so that was the first story. That kind of ended abruptly. My coworker's story was about a tradesman I worked under when I was an apprentice. He later went on to be the maintenance man for our main office building and worked in the basement there. One night, a year or so after he passed away, a new guard was patrolling the building at around 3 a.m. and was lost. She said that a guy working in the building gave her directions on how to get out of the building. When she reported to the guard sergeant what had occurred, the sergeant said no one should be in that building. When she gave a description of the guy who gave her directions, he pulled out an ID from his desk and asked if that was him. She said yes, it was my former coworker. I asked the guard about this later and she told me, I know what I saw. Whoa. That's crazy. And it looks like that's all on that thread. That one had some good ghost stories. Let me see if I can find any more to read a few more here. Let me see if I can find some more because that one ended. Let's see. Okay, so that was the one I was on. That was a good thread. Does anyone have any ghost stories? Let's check this thread out. Chantilly! Glad you made it. What is up? Okay, this is from Spornorama. And this was 24 days. So this thread's fairly new. Years ago, the wife and I were asleep in bed and suddenly the lights go on and her mom rushes in shouting, "Quick, quick! The baby stopped breathing!" So we rushed upstairs and our little one has turned over and inhaled. Wait, how is this? Oh, okay. So we rushed upstairs and our little one has turned over and I ruined the story, guys, sorry. And swallowed part of her pillow and is choking. It was really close thing and we're just pumped full of adrenaline. Then we look at each other. Her mom had died 12 months before. Wow. I kind of ruined it because I was like, wait a minute, how is this a ghost story? Oh, that's a crazy story. Oh my gosh, I got chills for that one. Okay, this is from user. Oh, maybe we'll do this. Carpe Cyprende. It was just my granddad's voice for me, shouting my name, and that the curtains were on fire because the candle was under them and lit. Windy night, they had billowed over a tea light holder. He was 5 years past at the time. I stopped using candles to help get to sleep then. Wow, that's kind of cool. Bernadette! Thank you for the super chat. My trickster attachment says he loves your ghost stories. And choo choo, she is continuing the super chat train. Thank you, Bernadette. Hearts for Bernadette. Jen, how's it going? Daisy, I wouldn't be surprised if it was me, because sometimes I've got wonky connection. But I'm glad it was you and not me this time. This one's from Asthum, Reddit user. I have to be careful with some of these names, you never know. An online friend told me that the tale of how he and his mates were walking home from a rural pub late one night and saw something strange. It was a white blob floating in midair and changing shape, sometimes vanishing, maybe 100 meters away in a field. Everyone was obviously terrified, but my friend was braver and somewhat skeptical of ghosts and the supernatural, so he decided to investigate. He climbed into the field and walked towards the strange shape-shifting blob. When he reached it, he found himself face to face with a cow. It was a black and white cow eating the long grass at the base of some trees. The point is that if he hadn't gone to investigate, that group would still be telling the tale of a shape-shifting blob with no possible explanation. I like that one. That was a good one. Ha! Aileen saying this is cool, real people story. I like them because it's actually people telling their own stories. Bernadette saying hearts for our host graysonreport. Thank you. I know, that's hilarious, Jen. Everyone's like, oh my god, it's a ghost. And then the guy brave enough to go, it was just a cow. I like that story. That was a sweet story. This is from Reddit user River1Stick. My grandma passed away about a year before my mom became pregnant. She had always wanted to be a grandmother. My granddad passed away when I was about 5. Shortly after his death, I woke up in the middle of the night and saw this lady just sitting at the edge of my bed, smiling at me. I ran to my parents as I was scared and told them. They asked me what I saw, etc. Turns out I described my grandmother perfectly without having met her and there not being photos of her. So the thought is that when my grandfather was reunited with my grandma, he told her about me and then she visited. Aw, I like that. That gave me chills. Oh my gosh. I got chills from that one. What about you guys? Did you get chills from that one? That's a sweet story. Gave me super chills. The next one is from Reddit user Mermaid Stone. Several years ago, I was getting ready for work and listening to a radio morning show who had a psychic medium on doing readings to listeners who called in, giving messages from loved ones who had passed. I thought, yeah, right. After listening to a few, I began to cry thinking about my older brother Matthew, who had passed away years before when we were teenagers, and how I wished this was real so I could hear from him. About that time, the psychic on the radio says, I'm sorry, I'm getting a really loud voice coming through for someone named my name. If someone with that name is listening, does the date July 19th mean anything to you? The day my brother was killed. Someone named Matthew really wants me to tell you that he's okay and for you to live a happy life. I really cried then, but was also laughing with joy. That's the only time I've ever had anything like that happen. Ooh, that one gave me chills too. Kind of like these stories too. Susan Rick saying, I like that. Sweet story. And how's it going? Shamanistic Unicorn saying, this is so sweet. You definitely chills on that one. Definitely. Aileen saying that was a sweet story. Julissa saying yes. And saying had a one-on-one with my dad. That is so cool. That, you can't explain that one. Like you're listening to a radio show with a psychic and then you all of a sudden get a message for you. That is, ooh, that gave me chills. But it's cool at the same time. The message is like, live your life. I love that one. The next one's from Reddit user 10642. My mom went to visit the man who raised her after she gave birth to me because she was so proud of me and wanted to show me off to him. She hadn't revisited the country since she was 14. She went to his old family shop and was told he had passed away. She's convinced that his ghost walked past, looked into the crib and smiled and touched her heart and walked off. She truly believes this happened to this day and is very, very much an anti-believer in other supernatural things. That one's kind of sweet. This is from Deleted. I'm assuming they no longer have an account with Reddit. As a school caretaker, let me tell you that there is nothing quite like the atmosphere of a school once the kids have gone home. So many times you have weird things happen, stories to tell, and things which make your hair stand up. Every caretaker I've spoken to says the same. That's not really a story, but... And saying it was awesome. I'm so glad you had a one-on-one with your dad. Daisy saying, I want to do a medium and do that, but at the same time I'm scared as F and never nervous at the same time to do that. I don't think I'm ready. It's too recent. Well, when you're ready, Daisy, go for it. I thought of it too as well. Just to see who comes through. It may be someone you least expect too, Daisy, as well. This is from Reddit user Badgerwood. Ask me when I'm sober and I'll deny all of this, but whiskey is nice, so here goes. We moved to Weaverthorpe in North Yorkshire when I was 13 years old. Pretty much straight after moving in, I always hated the place, I started suffering from sleep paralysis. This happened most nights until we moved away a few months later. It stopped immediately afterwards. I never mentioned it to anyone as it was a bit weird. Sleeping with the lights on helped a bit. My mom died a few years ago, and on my last visit to her, we got talking about the house, and she randomly dropped in how it scared the life out of her when she checked in on me one night to find an old lady leaning over me in bed. Thanks, Sue. My missus thought I'd gone mental when I insisted on sleeping with my bedside light on for a while afterwards. Anywho, since my mom passed on, I occasionally feel someone touching my arm or back on my neck when I'm upset or stressed, like she used to do. It might be psychological, but it's great. comfort. Anyway, come tomorrow. None of this ever happened. That is crazy. That would scare me. Knowing that an old lady was leaning over me in my bed, causing the sleep paralysis. T-Nice is like, nah, I don't know. I feel like my aunts or grandmothers would be like, hey, I told you to wear socks. That's why you're sick. Julius is saying, oh no, I would freak out. That would freak me out. I don't blame him for sleeping with the lights on. Because that would freak me out. Or a nightlight or something. The next one's from Reddit user Press the Fat Dog. Alright. We rented a house about 10 years back. It was owned by a private landlord who purchased it from the family of the previous owners who had passed away. They had been the sole occupants since the house was built. I've never believed in ghosts, but I found it eerie there from the day we moved in. Music boxes going off despite not being touched. Felt I could hear footsteps upstairs when no one else present. I had a toddler and gave birth to a baby a few weeks after moving in. When the newborn was about a week old, I woke up startled and looked over at the Moss's basket and found the light blanket I had placed around her torso, covering my son's face. It terrified me because babies that age don't move. A few weeks later, I woke up startled again and saw the Moses basket was not on its rocker and found my baby on the floor in his Moses basket. I'm probably saying it wrong. We were exhausted due to no sleep, but both myself and my partner swore we had not done this. I was accusing him and he was accusing me. A month or so later, I put these sticks in the garden that were meant to encourage our two dogs to pass urine in a certain place, and it was working. My dogs were peeing against them. Shortly after, I put my toddler in the high chair to get them lunch. Came back to find the dog piss sticks on the high chair with my toddler playing with them. They were strapped in. Maybe it was all coincidental, but I still don't understand how. I had a feeling we were not wanted there. We constantly had DVDs arrive addressed to a male previous owner. We moved quickly. It was a very weird 6 months. That's crazy. Susan saying, I love the paranormal and supernatural. Aileen saying, I like the paranormal. Julius is saying, yes, Moses basket. I don't want to repeat what kind of DVDs it was, Bernadette. I don't know if that had to do with the hauntings, but that Reddit user had to put it in there. The next one's from Reddit user Official Aeon. I'm very skeptical about ghosts. I will stand there and argue that they don't exist until I'm blue in the face, as I'm yet to see any hard proof. However, being a skeptic, I have this incident that has always stuck with me. I have a heavy loft hatch, and I mean heavy. It's a 3-foot by 3-foot hardwood panel, just over 1 inch in thickness. It's pretty heavy. I walked through the landing one night, and the entire thing was out of place, rotated on an angle, and moved halfway across the opening. As the panel sits between two beams, it needs to be lifted a good 6 inches. I remember stopping and just staring at it, trying to remember the last time I was up there. Didn't really have an idea, but it had been a while, so obviously I didn't leave it that way. Nobody else would have done it. They're too short to get in, too weak to pull themselves up, and my dogs don't jump that high. Anyhow, after a solid minute of staring at the thing, I thought it said I pooped my head. I was like, what? I popped my head in out of curiosity, wondering what cool stuff I'd see with the light bleeding through. That dusty smell triggers the, ooh, what will I find, you know? That's when my unexplainable moment happened. It was as if someone sort of half hissed, half cleared their throat, right up in my face. Kind of like a sharp, breathy, heh. Or, I didn't jump, didn't panic, didn't budge. I simply stepped down as casually as you like and tried to understand what had just happened. I won't say it's a ghost, and I disagree if someone said it on my behalf. Thought it could have been wind, but wind wouldn't lift that loft hatch, and the loft is well sealed. Just can't explain it. Person was trying to get his attention. Gene Rick! How's it going? Alice, what's up? And saying I don't want to have a ghost, but want to see one? Cool. The next one's from Reddit user alarming ad 3440. Me and some friends were drinking at one of their houses. It was a bit of a bachelor pad party house. He had a bar in his living room. We were looking at an old OS map, talking about finding a skull for the mate's snake tank, as you do. There are plenty of abandoned chapels and graveyards that are now farmland locally. The front door, hidden from view, opened. You know, the sound of a UPVC door opening? We all stopped and looked up to see who's coming to join us, and there is the human-sized shadow figure thing blocking the view to a mirror in the hallway to the front door. My mate and I saw it. We looked at the others standing the other side of the bar, who turned to see, and by the time we looked back, it was gone. It was the strangest thing I've seen, and my mate saw the same thing at the same time. Everyone thought someone was coming into the house, though only the two of us saw it. We had plenty of drinks after that. It was a sobering experience. Needless to say, his pet snake never got to curl itself through a human skull. That one's crazy. Heather, whatever, saying I have a friend who lives with one. I'll see if she will watch your channel. Okay, cool. Wakeshape Berry does not want to see one. Tyranna does not want to see one. She'd be freaked out. I don't know how I would react, to be honest with you. I think I'd be in shock at first. I'd be the type of person that would try to investigate. I'm telling the people not to open the doors, and I'd probably be the idiot opening the door. This one's from Reddit user Monkey Loves Food. I'm a huge skeptic and don't believe in anything like that. Although not a ghost story, the night my daughter's hamster passed, she woke screaming from a nightmare. She never woken us up like that before or after. When she went to bed, the hamster had a bit of a carrot and was very much alive. She woke screaming, and so we went in to comfort her and saw he had very recently passed. He was still slightly warm, but very much dead. He was 4, so we'd been expecting it for a good couple of years. My daughter was in a high sleeper bed with no view of his cage, which made the whole thing very unsettling. She was amazing at looking after the hamster herself, which I think is why he lived to such a ripe old age. She's thinking about becoming a vet now, and honestly, I couldn't think of anything more suited for her. Still a very unsettling experience, though. Bernadette wants to meet a vampire and become one. Susan does not want to see one. Alright, guys, I've got time for one more story, and I'll take a few questions. This one's from Reddit user Dan the Lego Man. I'll preface this by saying I don't believe in ghosts. But shortly after my father suddenly and unexpectedly passed away, my partner and I were watching some evening TV, and we heard our just 2-year-old daughter talking and laughing on the baby monitor. We went in and asked, "Who were you talking to?" And she said, "Granddad. He was tickling me." We looked around and obviously didn't see anything, but she remained looking over at the corner of the room, smiling. When we settled her back down and returned to the TV, we heard her toy record player started playing a song. We went back in to check, and it was playing even though it was turned off. We had some other strange electrical things happen around that time, but too much to list here. As I say, I don't believe in those things, but there's definitely something unexplainable. I hope my daughter could see her granddad and that he could see her again. He was taken far too soon, and I miss him a lot. Aw, that was a sweet story. I like that story. That was sweet. Heather Wetter saying, "Oh, shadow people, I heard about them when I was in the forest waiting to drive my son home. I was listening to Art Bell on T Radio. Scared me, but people said, oh, that's crinksters who see shadow people." Louisa, I hope your shoulder feels better. That sounds good, Teresa. D-Nice! Thank you for the super sticker with the hippo hearts for D-Nice, and she is continuing the super chat train. Choo choo! Hearts for D-Nice, guys. Thank you, D-Nice. Heather, whatever. Thank you for the super sticker with the hippo. Another hippo. Hearts for Heather, whatever. As she continues the super chat train. Thank you, Heather, whatever. You're awesome. Thank you, Heather, whatever. D Nice is like, thanks for the spooks, Lisa. No problem. Those are actually some good ghost stories. I actually liked reading those. And they were pretty well written too. Some of them like cut off too short, but I really liked those. And some of them were heartwarming too as well. I was like going, wait a minute. Gary the alien was a bit crooked. D Nice is saying, everyone please continue to support our Lisa. She deserves to be full time. Thank you, D Nice. Heather whatever's saying these stories are good. They were. Daisy saying, awesome stream. I'm glad I got to catch it. Thank you, Daisy. I am so glad you were able to make it. Bernadette's asking, what is by Larry? It's a peep. It is a wabbit, but it's a wabbit peep. Teresa's saying, I can only stand on the platform watching the train go by tonight, but I'm cheering as I watch the cars go by. Thank you, Teresa. I like how you put it. It's an oversized peep, Bernadette. Alice is like, Lisa needs to do this full time. Thank you, guys. Aileen saying those were very good ghost stories and very heartwarming. I like them. Daisy's like the peeps you eat. Yes, it's exactly that, but the rabbit ones or the bunny ones, if you want to put it that way. I have two of them. I have another one, but I saw it and I was like, oh my god, I have to have it. So then I bought it. Heather, whatever saying, my dad used to sing a song about the man who never returned. He was on a train but couldn't pay fare, so they wouldn't let him off. Fiction. That's cool. Wow, D Nice, that looks creepy. Oh, Daisy, Larry's the skeleton sitting next to the peep. It's Larry the skeleton and Gary the alien. Don't ask me why I named him Larry, but it just came in mind. So I was like, Larry. So it's Larry the skeleton. And he has a cute purple bow tie. If I can find something else for him to wear, I'll put something on him. Brandon's asking, have I ever heard of Robert Johnson? No, I haven't. Bernadette saying, speaking of songs, folk tale songs from, like, Irish songs are so interesting. You have to listen to some, Lisa. They are so interesting and sad, but you fall in love with those songs. I think I've heard some of them. They're pretty cool. Alice is saying he looks like a Larry. Shamanistic Unicorn Tam is saying, great name, Larry. Alice sees Chucky on the other side. Alright, guys, any last minute questions? Oh, cool. Brandon saying he is a guitar player. They say sold his soul to learn how to play. Interesting story. That does sound like an interesting story. Bernadette. Gary with his fake Mickey Mouse. You know what they are? They're googly eyes. Alright, guys. Unfortunately, I have to bid you guys farewell. I am glad you enjoyed the ghost stories. I have to do this again on another stream. But thank you for spending your Monday night with me. And I will see you guys Saturday. Oh, wait a minute. This Saturday I'm going to be at EDC. So I don't think I'm streaming this Saturday. So I'm not sure the next time I'll be on, but I will keep you posted. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys. Thank you, guys.